戦いの年季の違いを思い知らせてやる。
So, you found this wacky game, Heritage for the Future, and you think that old Joseph looks pretty fun, but you have no idea how to play him. Well, I've made this video to help new players learn the ins and outs of using the old man, so you can get on track to becoming the best old Sith ever. Old Joseph is a very defensively oriented character. He's useless at long range, and mediocre close up. So his general game plan in any match is playing calmly and patiently, waiting for a chance to punish gaps in his opponent's pressure to score big damage. Fortunately, he has many solid pokes for whiff punishing, and he can easily hit confirm them into his custom combo super. Joseph is a pretty weak character, placed at the top of C tier in the current tier list. A lot of his grabby type moves only work in the middle of combos, meaning he's more of a pseudo grappler than an actual grappler. Still, he's an honest character with a unique fun playstyle, who can hold his own against many of the cast. A slow jab with short range. Use it as an anti-air if you want, but most of the time it's used to combo into S2C. The dashing version is a great anti-air. One thing to mention about Joseph's standoff dashing moves is that all of them have crazy amount of active frames, as well as hit stun. An overall great poke. It's fast, hits decently far in front of you, and confirms into overdrive or custom combo. It's a decent anti-air too. The dashing version is an amazing button. It has so much range it leaves the opponent in hit stun for days, and is also super safe. 5B but worse in every way. Don't use. One of those weird crouching attacks that really should hit low but doesn't. Even then, this is a great poke and combo starter, so use this a lot. The dashing version is also solid, and it can low profile certain projectiles. A very awkward move. It's your best move to build meter with, and that's all you should really do with it. The dashing version is really good, as it's one of the few low attacks that you have. Another really awkward move. It has a solid hitbox, but it's outclassed in every way by the stand-on version. The dashing version is pretty much the same as 2B's, except it launches. A quick downwards jab. It can be used when your opponent is below you and you don't think JC will reach. JA, but slower and more damage. Joseph's best jumping normal standoff. A great hitbox, and it's easy to start combos with. 2B but good. It's a great low attack with a high amount of active frames. It's a big part of your Okizeme. The same as 3B, but it comes out slower and knocks down the opponent. Use it if you want a knockdown, I guess, but hit confirming 3B into custom combo will give you a knockdown anyway, and do more damage. Shit tier move. Never use this. It's slow as hell, and even if you do land it, it's minus on hit. Make a habit of grabbing with 4C so you don't use this accidentally. Your grab isn't the best, but at least it can't be punished. Just watch out for people attacking back into you. A quick jab with short range. It's essential as a combo filler, but not something to use in neutral. A quick word about stand-on dashing moves. Compared to stand-off, Joseph's stand-on dashes are quite mediocre, simply because they can't be cancelled, or at least not fast enough to be any helpful. so I'm not going to cover them. Don't use any of them aside from dashing 2B or dashing 3C. Basically 5C but in stand on. Don't use it outside of combos. An anti-air button that isn't too useful because your opponent needs to be very close to you for it to come out. Very good move, great for punishes. Also a fantastic anti-air that can link into a super. Stand off 2A but with more range and hits low now. Can be chained into S5B but only if used once. Very good poke that can lead to big damage, use this a lot. Plays a role in stand crash combos, but outside of that and meter building it's useless. The button, insanely quick and far range, and combos into hermit grab. This move is perfect for catching opponents off guard, and the risk reward is heavily in your favour. Joseph's best stand on jumping normal. A lot of hit stun allows this to combo into S5C or S2C easily for a full combo. A lot of beginners I've seen use SJB over this, so please don't sleep on this button. Decent air to air, it has a tiny hitbox for some reason, and less hit stun. I prefer SJA. SJB but with a longer startup and more damage. The same as the stand-off version. A far-reaching low attack, it can't be cancelled, and the startup and recovery are high. A good combo ender if you can't 360 yet. In neutral, you throw this out hoping to catch your opponent off guard, but if they jump over it, you're eating a full punish. The dashing version is similar, but it slides forward and is even more risky. Pretty much the same as standoff, but with one difference. If you use it in a chain combo, it magically becomes positive on hit, meaning you can use this in a block string to mess with your opponent. A good zoning tool and a combo ender. It has very far horizontal reach, but a bad vertical one, meaning you shouldn't use this as an anti-air or to keep away someone who jumps a lot. Use the B version of this move, as for some reason it has a couple more active frames at the end of the move. Another thing I don't see people mentioning much is its use in stand crash combos. It does a fair amount of damage to the stand gauge, so if your opponent is low, try to stand crash with it. You can then follow up with the dashing 5B for a free combo. The C version is very slow, but it can be used for reads. Probably his most important special move, the hermit grab, is what most of Joseph's combos revolve around. You will mostly use this inside of combos, but it is definitely a useful long-range punish. Once you've grabbed an opponent, you can mash attack buttons to zap them full of hamon. If you take too long, your opponent can always mash out of the grab. Press 4A once they have been grabbed to pull them back. The A and B versions are identical, and the C version is lower to the ground, making it the better version as it won't whiff against crouching opponents. This move has a decent startup but long recovery, and opponents can simply avoid it by jumping. Get into the habit of only using this move if you know it will connect, as hermit grab is very punishable if whiffed or push blocked. A counter. Definitely the worst one in the game, as the hit you counter will need to strike pretty deep for it to connect. Even if you do land all 6 hits, which you normally won't, the damage isn't really worth the risk most of the time. Stand on, the move turns into a simple multi-hit attack. You can mash during the animation to score extra hits. This attack is pretty much useless outside of a custom combo. Inside one, it's a really good combo ender, as well as useful for catching someone in the air for easy damage and a knockdown. This move has a lengthy startup, but is an overhead as well as air unblockable. This is what you use instead of 6C if you want an overhead. Stand on, the move changes to have a longer startup, but with the benefit of becoming a multi-hit move with a lot more active frames, and can also be cancelled into hermit grab. An unblockable command grab. Sets up nice for Okizeme. Stand off, it does less damage, and it's hard to combo into. Stand on, the move is much better, as it does a lot more damage and is now your primary combo ender, so make sure you learn how to input it. It may seem daunting at first, but the game is actually quite lenient with this input. You don't need to input any corner directions, only the 6, 2, 4 and 8 matter. Also, 360s aren't full 360s, but actually 270s. You can do the input any way you want, clockwise or anti-clockwise, and you can start from any direction, you just need to make a full rotation. Make sure to mainly use the A and B versions of this move. In Stand On, the C version plays a different animation that sends the opponent to the other end of the screen, which leaves less time for Oki while it does the same damage. Joseph's stand activation attack, identical to S623, and therefore not too useful at a glance. This move does have one important function that I'll discuss later. A really solid guard cancel, good invincibility frames and horizontal reach. It might miss people in the air and it whiffs on smaller characters, but make good use of this. While this guard cancel doesn't have the high number of invincibility frames as the stand-off version, it does good damage to the health bar as well as the stand gauge, meaning if the third hit stand crashes, you get a free combo. Joseph can roll and stand on. While this would be a really cool gimmick to have, it's slow and not even invincible. It just makes your hurtbox smaller. You can low profile some things, but generally it's just not worth the risk. Don't use it. I'll get this one out of the way first. This move is bad. No invincibility on startup, and it comes out slow as hell. It serves the same purpose as a time stop. It's flashy and it shows your skill at the game, but it really isn't very practical. If you're scared by 720 motions, don't worry. In a real match you'll never need this. This super suffers from heavy damage scaling. Don't use it as a combo ender. The main things this is used for is as a reversal or as an anti-air. As a reversal, it's pretty simple. Your opponent does something dumb, so you smack them with this. Because of its high vertical range, you can use it to catch dumb jump in. But it's not air unblockable, meaning you have to wait until your opponent presses a button before letting it rip. However, you can use SFIII to anti-air someone and then combo into this. The super isn't awful, but the better you get at Joseph, the less you'll find yourself using this move. Activating the custom combo makes Joseph quickly dash towards the enemy, as well as making all of his normals lightning fast. By far Joseph's best super. It's what makes his punish game so good. It's super easy to combo into, and it allows Joseph to get insane damage off of one hit. Aside from a combo extender, it's also a great anti-air and a reversal tool, due to its invincibility on startup. Even if this is your only decent super, you shouldn't be firing them off left, right, and center. Try to always have one stock of meter ready at any given moment because of how important punishes are to your game plan. I'll go over what you should do during the custom combo in a bit, but for now just know that this is what you should be spending your meter on 95% of the time. So Joseph pretty much only has 3 or 4 actually practical combos in standoff, if you don't want to spend meter. And one of them is 2A, 2A, 5B, overdrive. Pretty simple string and it's quite flexible. You can use 5A if you want. Start it with a JC. You just want to string a couple hits into overdrive. Next is a confirm into the 360 grab, and it's just JC, 3B, 360. Pretty simple, and very good damage for standoff. Next is just 5A into S2C, or S5C if you want. That's a really good combo starter. And the last one is just really any normal into overdrive. Just anything you want. If you think it'll combo into overdrive, it probably will. So there you go. In stand-on, Joseph has a lot more options for combos. Note that any combo that ends with S5B or S5C is always used to confirm into custom combo, as these are technically unsafe on hit. The most basic string you'll be doing in Joseph's combos. You can add one more jab to it. Good string for catching people blocking high. The best meterless combo ender off a hermit grab if you can't 360 yet. Starting with a low jab. Series of low attacks into knockdown. Very useful. The 6C doesn't combo, but it can catch people who expect the final hit to be low. If you get a far catch with a hermit grab, you can pull them back, smack them with S5C and grab again for free damage. Keep in mind all these combos can be started from a jump in or a hermit grab. Speaking of the hermit grab, it's an obviously important combo tool, and you'll learn with time which combo to go with. To help, I've made a flowchart telling you what combo to do, depending on the situation. There are a couple different variations in custom combo sequences, each of which have their own use. This is the easiest form of the B&B, and it'll work in any situation from any combo starter. I highly recommend you at the very least learn how to do this consistently before heading out into a real match that you intend to win. The go-to combo that a good Joseph will use. There are two situations you would use this in. One is to simply force a crouching opponent to stand with the low hermit grab so they get hit by the normal hermit grab at the end of the custom combo, which is very important against characters like Devo or Khan. The other is because of a weird bug. For whatever reason, if you start a custom combo with a dashing move or 3B, if you do a point blank hermit grab, it'll whiff. This route is the workaround. Because of Iggy's annoying size, your regular route won't work on him, meaning you'll have to do this one. I'm not going to go over every single stand crash setup for every gauge amount, because that would take forever and be really boring, so here's a universal setup that works on everyone. If you find the SJC too hard, you can use SJA or just straight up do S5C if you want. Joseph actually has a tournament legal loop. If you grab with a low hermit grab at the end of the custom combo, you have a 1 frame window to input any normal and extend it. This means you can theoretically do it forever as long as you keep the tempo up.
Awkward transition!
Spacing is very important as Joseph. You don't have the range to zone, or the mobility to play rushdown, so keeping your opponent at a comfortable range is a skill every old Sith needs to learn. Where exactly that range is depends on the matchup, but generally you want to have your opponent at just the range where a 5B can catch them. Not too close, but not too far. Overdrive is also a good spacing tool to keep people away if they aren't respecting it. Sometimes the opponent will force your hand, and you'll need to approach them. Take advantage of your great dashing normals and cancelling them into overdrive to make them safe. Joseph doesn't have many mix-ups, but take advantage of the fact that his 623A is an overhead, which can help you out heaps. For example, your grab isn't amazing, but it's all you really have. Without grabs, your pressure is pretty linear, so make sure to chuck a few of them out to keep your opponent guessing. Generally speaking, your game plan is to push block or guard cancel everything that comes at you until you see an opportunity to use one of your pokes to lead into a custom combo. Your dashing normals will carry you far, as they are great for shutting down approaches, as well as being easily hit confirmed. Of course, you need to be able to stop people in the air as well. Your best anti-airs are 5A and dashing 5A, 5B and dashing 5B, JC, S5C, and 623A and S623A. Getting good at anti-airing is a great way of keeping people out of your face and conditioning the opponent to approach on your terms. JC and SJA are your best air-to-airs. For such a weak character, Joseph has a surprising amount of Okizeme options that you should make use of, especially since his primary combo enders end in a knockdown. Joseph has access to a 50-50 mix-up on Wake Up. It's pretty simple to pull off. Use 3B as a MIDI attack. You can then either cancel it into a 360 just as they wake up, or let it hit and cancel it into a custom combo. Your opponent can either choose to block low and risk being caught by the grab, or hold up and risk being caught with the MIDI. This Oki is pretty strong, as whichever option you choose will result in another knockdown. After you get a knockdown, you can use a chained S6C. It's barely positive on hit, so you can link it into a custom combo, but it is a 1-frame link. If you do this a lot, you can actually condition the opponent to block high, and then just let the 3B stay out, catching them low, meaning this is also kind of 50-50. This honestly works more often than it should. Using raw 6C as an Oki option is a thing. You can use the long startup to buffer a 720, or intentionally get the timing off so you can quickly S2A to catch them blocking high. You can do a cross-up with 6-6C to get behind the opponent, and S2A if they're blocking the wrong way. For whatever reason, if you use S623A, your next counter will be able to have its startup cancelled into Hermit Grab. While this potentially can make Joseph's counter do 50%, it has its limitations. For one, you can't be hit by anything in between the S623A and the counter, otherwise it won't work. It will also not work if you counter an aerial move. While this can be devastating to pull off, it's generally a pretty big risk to go for it, so I would say only use it for style points. Joseph has one more way to combo into Hermit Grab. By using 236S's property of being cancelable, it's possible to quickly input a 236S and then get a Hermit Grab off of a standoff normal. Dashing 5B is the move most used for this, because of its high hit stun, but you can do this for really any normal, as long as you're fast enough. This may seem challenging at first, but there's actually a super easy way to do this. Before your standoff normal hits, buffer a 236 motion. Once it connects, press 2 and S. This should cause 236S to come out, and then you can roll the rest of the motion easily. Once you've learned the BNB, you should definitely learn how to do this. You get so much damage off of so little, and it can make your opponent much more respectful of your dashes. If you flub your custom combo confirm, you're in a pretty sticky situation. You can't block and you're constantly running at your enemy. There are a couple of things you can do to take advantage of your opponent's habits. If your opponent likes to jump or jump back, just 5C and 214A. If the 5C doesn't hit, the 214A probably will. If your opponent likes to respond with a super, you can try and Hermit Grab them before they complete the motion. If your opponent holds block or guard cancels you, you can do a raw 360. You can't jump during the custom combo, so you have a lot of time to do it.